Greetings. Today we launch into the first major area of meditation, and that is Thanksgiving. Meditation is the preparation, or if you please, the prerequisite to worship. Thus, Thanksgiving becomes the first building block in bringing the spiritual house to completion or maturity. This is true individually as well as corporately. Observation will verify until one is thankful for what God has already done and is doing in his life, he will not be led any further in the process of maturity. Israel was murmuring and complaining. They were pining to go back to Egypt, not forward to Canaan. There was no thanksgiving, you see. Meditation is the primary, it is the first of the three areas in which the believer priest is to offer up acceptable spiritual sacrifices to God. Again, we're going to study thanksgiving, then praise, and then the joy of the Lord. So meditation is the principal activity of daily life. Let me say that again. Thanksgiving is the principal activity of daily life. Let's closely examine and learn to apply it to the glorifying of God. First, we should note that Thanksgiving was an Old Testament practice. In Leviticus chapter 3, verses 1 through 17, we read of the sacrifice of peace offerings. Now, there were two kinds of offerings. There were trespass offerings and there were peace offerings. The trespass offerings were offered because one had been separated from God. But the peace offerings were offered because one had been reconciled to God. Then Leviticus chapter 7, verses 11 through 17, we find two reasons for the sacrifice of peace offerings. The first is thanksgiving, and the second was fulfillment of a vow. First, thanksgiving was a voluntary offering of appreciation. We must understand that this offering was not given to reconcile the giver. That was the picture of the trespass offering. But the thanksgiving offering was given because the giver knew that he had already been reconciled. Second purpose was the fulfillment of a vow offered as an acknowledgement to God. This principle was written into the law, but the precedent was established many years before the forefathers of Israel. In fact, it was Jacob, or Israel himself, who began practicing such a thing in the book of Genesis chapter 20, verses 20 through 22. He is on the run for his life from his brother. He is stopped for the night, and it says, God spoke to him, and it says, and Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me, and will keep me in the way that I go, and will give me bread to eat, and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and of all that God shall give me, I will surely give the 10th unto thee. Notice, on the basis of the promises of God made to him, Jacob said that he would acknowledge God's provision and protection by giving a 10th part of all his increase to God. These two principles are the foundation of the New Testament tithes, the fulfillment of the vow, and offerings, the voluntary offering of appreciation, which is given over and above the tithe. Note that. We truly can't give an offering until first we've paid our tithes. But enough said on that. Listen to the words of the psalmist in Psalm 50 and verse 14. Offer unto God thanksgiving and pay thy vows unto the Most High.